All right, so let's have a little bit of fun, guys. There's a video that came out of your heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. And he's sitting around, he's like with family. And they're just having a little bit of a conversation, and Francis is sharing something about his contract. Something about, hey, it's got to be by this date, or, he kind of touches on the contract. And they go around the table and they film everybody. Oh, and by the way, for the smart marks that are paying attention, one of the gals in the room, who we trust to be, it was a mother, it was an aunt, I think it was even identified in the video, but he's wearing a PFL shirt. So, this camera's whipping through. This was not high-level production, right? This is Chael and a couple of buddies with something just better than an iPhone, but it does get done, and they do pan the room, and somebody does notice, whoa, Ngannou, team member, family member, possibly mother, wearing a PFL shirt. What do we make of that? Oh my, is he going to the PFL? The PFL is going to lure Francis with very attractive pay-per-view splits, and they're going to put him on the same card as Jake Paul. This thing's going to get blown up. Well, it's a fun topic. I mean, not for nothing, it's a fun topic. It's a fun topic because imagine, just for fun, that you do get a piece. And imagine, just for fun, that Jake Paul and Nate Diaz are going to be on that same card. I mean, you see where your life just got different? I had a spot. Dominic Cruz was going to fight Uriah Faber. And it was a co-main spot. But Dom was champion, so now he gets points. You're a champion and you're defending championships. It doesn't matter where you go, just so you guys understand. You do not have to be a main event. We got a whole bunch of champions that have made millions of dollars. They can't draw flies, but the contract is still honored. Now, Dominic most certainly could draw. Dominic versus Uriah, that's a great rivalry and a great piece of business, but they got put on a co-spot with Sonnen Silva Part 2, which was just the biggest fight that our industry had at that time. I don't actually say that to shine my own wheels. I say that because, though I'm headlining, though I'm doing some pretty heavy lifting for this, I am not a champion. I do not have a clause. Matter of fact, I get $35,000, and I get another $35,000 if I beat him. That's just where I was at. Dom, who would be under that, with his great rival, this is his $1 million night. This is the night he becomes a millionaire. And I can't remember what happened, but something did happen. Something did happen. I think it was Faber. But pulled out and couldn't do it. Or Dom's knee reflared up, whatever it was. That fight did happen. They did fight. They just weren't under that one. They just weren't under that one. And that one, and you've heard a number of different reports. I don't know that I've heard the right one yet, but that one, the way Dom's math would have worked, that fight would have paid 3.6. 3.6 million would have been the back end bonus money to Dominic for the way that works. So where you go, it matters. That's all that I'm sharing with you. I should be stating the obvious here, but for some of you that go, well, Chael, I don't understand how you say that. Why would Ngannou, to do the same thing, be paid more just because Jake Paul was on the card? And there are some of you that are going to ask that. And I'll just tell you when that, right? And it'd be very risky. Many guys have done this same mistake. They'll look at their numbers. They'll attempt to go somewhere else. I mean, if you ever followed Golden Boy Promotions, then you understand very well that athletes will make that mistake all the time. They will think that it's them. They will constantly think that it's them or that it's their matchup. But this is one of those times where, goddamn, it just might be true. It just might be true. If you could get Nate Diaz to go against Paul and you could get Francis on the card, and I haven't even told you the rest. I don't have the foggiest idea who Francis is going to fight. I don't know if anybody that Francis has already fought. I mean, I know that they're good, but none of them were high. I mean, if we look back in hindsight, Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez, oh my God. If there was ever a night, the second time I took the Lord's name in vain. I'm working on that, by the way, guys. That would be one of the biggest fights. You would have a party. You would be isolated. You would know what you're doing. Those guys went out and fought. Nobody cared before it happened. Nobody cared when it happened. It ended in complete controversy, which is the kind of fight you would rematch. Nobody even discussed it. Just nobody cared. Overeem versus Frank. Tremendous fight. But for whatever reason, it was just a miss at that time. And then you've got the debacle that was Ciryl Gane. I mean, I'm just sharing, Frank. I'm not looking to be a dick. I'm looking to tell you, I don't know that it really would matter who the opponent is. I don't know about that. It hasn't before. And if you get Jake on there, you got a hell of an announcement. Now, what am I doing right now? What am I doing? I'm having fun. I'm creating conversation. I'm visiting with you guys. I'm staying topical. This is out there. This is floating around. Somebody who was part of Francis's inner circle and has even been identified as his mother by one website, by an aunt, by another website, is wearing a PFL shirt, while Francis is cutting an interview about his contract and his soon-to-be free agent status. Okay, great. Let me stop you right there. She just happened to be wearing a PFL shirt. That's the answer to your question. There is nothing there. There is no hint there. The conversation is, in many ways, interesting, though. It really is. There's really nothing that could lure Francis away. And that's the part that the UFC, while they're negotiating, are never going to tell him. There's just not a time that they're going to tell him, you can't get a better deal anywhere else. They're going to let him go out and try. They're going to let him go out and look. And if his projections are bad, if the advice he gets is bad, if he just simply can't do math and that's bad, they're going to let him go. It's one of those really interesting spots. And while there might not be anyone to fight, there is a placement issue. Now, if you go and put all of your eggs in that one basket, you don't even have an opponent, but you're expecting Jake Paul and Nate Diaz to go do the heavy lifting, and something happens, including at the 11th hour, and either Nate Diaz or Jake Paul does not make that walk, right? I mean, right, with big risk comes big reward. I don't fault somebody like that. I'll just share for you in this particular situation, there was no foreshadowing. There is not a deal that's almost done. Francis is not about to go out and co-main event on a Jake Paul card. Very beautiful woman, happened to be wearing a shirt from the PFL, and somebody caught it on camera. That's what really happened.